Hey guys, welcome back. Third and final match coming on your screens very soon. It's going to be the San Francisco Shock facing up against the Outlaws. I mean, Outlaws fans right now, pretty shaking a little bit, I think. The Shock have looked oh so good over the last couple of weeks. Had a rough start to the season, but, I mean, Shock being Shock, they're pretty good at the video game, especially when it comes to playing new heroes as well. Of course, Echo is in play currently. We've seen a whole bunch of her already if you've only just joined us.
Yeah, it's been a difficult season for the for the Los Angeles Valiant. They just lost a really heartbreaking match against the Dallas Fuel last week. On the other side of things, the San Francisco Shock are riding a 4-match win streak, kind of resembling the Shock of all of last year. And yeah, I think it's going to be an uphill battle, definitely, for the Houston Outlaws. They end up playing a lot of teams kind of close, and they can pull things out. What Houston's key to victory is generally is like finding your style and sticking to it. When they try to mirror other teams, when they try to play out of their comfort zone, out of the things they've been coached and taught to do, they end up struggling a little bit. But when they can find their specific thing that works for them, regardless of what the hero pool or meta is, they seem to perform a lot better.
Let's have a look at the Houston Outlaws starters. Let's bring those up on your screen. And of course, it's going to be the classic Blase Dante in the DPS slots. So the question is, who's going to pick the Echo up? I can imagine it's going to be Blase, wouldn't be too surprised. And Dante this year, I think, has been very good individually. If you put him in kind of in a chamber on his own, just playing against bots. I don't know how to explain it.
Is that
but
punishment?
In a microcosm, like, he has been extremely good. His Sombra play has been exceptional. And I think, and we spoke about it, and we even did see a little bit of it earlier on today, I think Sombra mixed with the Echo is actually a really good comp, because the Echo can stay so safe when someone gets hacked and you can blow them up.
Yeah, at the very least, you imagine that he's going to play Sombra, and then if not, he'll play the Tracer. One of the reasons that Houston ended up bringing him in was for his Tracer play. If you remember all the Tracer woes that this Houston team had in Season 1. To round up the lineup, Muma will be playing the tank along with his partner in crime, Meko, and the support line will be Repel and Raucus. No Jexe thus far for the starters, but it is very possible he could come in.
Yeah, let's have a look at the Shock starters, though, that they're going to be facing up against. Some would say, like, who knows? Who knows who they're playing today? They could have Architect on support, they could have Rascal on support, they could have just any combination of players, it feels like, apart from the tank line, of course. We've got Smurf and Choi on the tank line. We've got Rascal and Striker coming in on the DPS, and Violet and Moth for the supports.
Of course, notably missing is reigning MVP Sinatra. He has chosen to pursue other avenues. It hurts me a little bit because I cast Sinatra for about 4 years. I looked it up, and I casted him in September of 2016. So Jay, great contributions to the league. We wish him nothing but the best. But if there's any team that can bounce back from losing that caliber of player, it is the San Francisco Shock. I mean, they didn't need to play him most of the year, and you've got guys like Striker and Rascal, and got Architect on the bench. Rascal was my early pick for this year's MVP because I didn't know what meta we were going to play. I didn't know what hero pools we were going to be in. And I'm like, oh, well, who will thrive no matter what? That's Rascal. And I'd be stunned if we didn't see Rascal pick up the Echo and then Striker on the Tracer or Sombra. More than likely Tracer. If you remember in Season 1, Striker was probably the best Tracer we had in the game through Stage 3. And he was on an MVP caliber run himself on that Tracer. So Striker, Tracer, Rascal, Echo just sounds terrifying.
That it does. Let's have a look at the maps. Oasis is going to be our first map of the day. Looks like we're jumping down to Gardens as our first one. For Striker and Rascal. Oh my goodness, yeah, like you said. Now I'm thinking about it and actually internalizing it. I would not like to be on the other team right now. My goodness. Striker, like you said, probably one of the best Tracers we had back in Season 1, and Rascal just knows how to play every hero, it feels like. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we see the Echo coming out from him, and then Striker just on a hit scan. Tracer, that it be, or even Soldier, who was hovering over there. Just like he's going to lock in the Ash, though, to start us off with.
Yeah, we never really know what San Francisco's going to run, so this one could be interesting here. Yeah, I'm all for it. The Ash Echo combo. All right, Rascal, let's see what you got.
So a little bit of damage. It's going to be hard, I think, for the Outlaws really to guarantee a kill onto Striker, just because Dante and Blase are going to be the only things that are really going to do much damage to him. Meko and Muma aren't getting escorted by Lucio. They've got a more slow-moving comp. Shock have taken the high ground, though, and a lot of dynamite damage already raining down from Striker, as well as saving himself from that Hulk, too, using the Coach Gun. Oh, Mecco, bad place to be. Yeah, guess what? The death ray, it goes through your eat. There's nothing you can really do about it, unfortunately. He ends up falling, and that'll be Shock capping the points.
Gonna try to clean up here with a little bit of the bounce damage and maybe get one on the way out. Blase is able to trade, but this one is all over but the Cryin, and this is a brutal stagger as well. Raucous will fall late. Now Striker can just take this high ground again. And this is like, if you remember in our early weeks too, where Exy played 76 on this map, just took high ground constantly. And his team always peeled for him, never really got touched by anybody else, has the ability to escape. A nice halt though.
Yep, Shock are definitely going to want to control the high ground this moment at least, especially now that Violet has that window. The window of pain, like you so adequately put it earlier. Bate is on the back line. Oh, pulse bomb. Oh, he's almost so good. He tried to get the melee kill actually onto Violet there as well, but Moth ended up healing him up and he ended up hitting the shift as well. There's the window of pain, just really so much damage forward. You can see the Outlaws struggling to actually get onto the point at this point. Dante ends up going down at 2 Moth as Striker continues to hold this high ground, and Rascal just doing whatever he pleases, going for the big flanks and the kills. That's a triple for the Echo.
Let's see if Striker tries to chase down this Orisa. That's not necessarily worth it. Don't have to put down that horse today. They're just going to back up nearing 70%, and that's almost a single fight away. Rascal is going to have his duplicate. Blase should get there momentarily. If you're Houston, everything has gone bad for you on the entry, so you might just have to use the rally to enter, and you might rally and rotate to the high ground just to take it away. There's the rally.
What a big diamond that damage. You are right, yeah. Rally to the high ground, it feels like. Supercharger has been used by the Shock. You see what Outlaws want to do here. They're going to use Supercharger to the right. There's the flux. Blase comping in the tanks. Oh, word. He's going to get a Supercharger so quick. Look at it building up already. He's almost got it. But Moth and Rascal are just going to take over the game. There's the Supercharger, but can he get anything done? I do not think so. He's just going to get whacked around a little bit by Moth, who ends up using the rally. This is a clean sweep, and look at that. Outlaws couldn't even touch the point. My word, that was quick. Blase, unfortunately, at the end there, couldn't quite get on the point in time.
Yeah, I don't dislike the idea, actually, of copying the Orisa, because you saw, like, Supercharger was just instant. But you have to do it quickly enough to be able to get your Supercharger while the rest of your team's alive. Supercharger is a team ultimate ability. I don't know if the stat still holds up, but I remember for most of last year, it was the most impactful team fight ultimate. That if you had Supercharger, you won team fights more than any other ultimate would help you win team fights. You get the shield down, and then you have another Supercharger, and that's all gravy, but you have to have people to use the damage amplification from the Supercharger. Otherwise, it's just a really useless bongo. It doesn't do anything.
Doesn't do all too much, and you saw it just there, right? I mean, he got it down, but the rest of his team had already kind of crumbled. Nice little jumping headshot.
Striker is playing this like Widow, though. He's using the coach gun for heights like a grapple.
Yeah. That's the best way to... Ooh, that's a lot of damage. Violet and Striker just destroying the front line, and Becco's going to go down as well. Yeah, you're running into Dynamite, my friends, also. There's going to be a bit of an issue here for the Shock if they can't cap the point, because the Outlaws do have May, but May's kind of trapped in this little room right now, already used the wall. Raucous taking a whole bunch of damage, and Shock end up capping first up here, so it's now on the Outlaws to try and find a little something. Rascal did just that, though, in winning the 1v1 duel against Blase. Does get cleaned up in time, though, but still got to deal with Striker and his B.O.B that's coming out soon.
They're just going to back out. There's no need to try to fight into this amplification matrix. It's going to get absolutely zero value. There's no one on that angle. Dynamite comes in, and Bob's going to clear up the room.
B.O.B just got launched in the room. Immortality field to keep him alive, and a freeze onto B.O.B, but he does a lot of work. I mean, he forced that Immortality field there. He moved Outlaws away. He also forced wall. That's almost the perfect B.O.B. Didn't get too much damage down, but hey, he forced out the most important cooldowns for the Outlaws comp. That's definitely a win in their book. Moomer ends up going down as well, and the Shock holding firm.
Wouldn't it be funny if B.O.B just stood for Big Old B.O.B? I think it's a name.
Big Old B.O.B?
Yeah. His actual name's B.O.B, but his acronym name is Big Old B.O.B.
Big Old B.O.B. Well, that's what I'm going to be calling him from now on.
Anyway, San Francisco at 55 and counting up, and the Outlaws have shown no signs of life. They have rallied, they popped immediately, try to get on here for Blizzard and Flux.
Huge rock. Flux is available too. They could use this as a defensive tool actually for the incoming Blizzard from Dante. Potentially. Is he going to use it? Rascal's going to be okay. There you go. Yeah, defensive Flux from Choi in order to demolish the backline. That's perfectly timed. And Rascal's on the side. No one can deal with Rascal right now. He is left free as a bird, high in the sky, just doing whatever he so chooses. I'm not even sure Rascal's died yet. This is just domination from the Shock.
Yeah, free as a bird, and this map might end in a shorter time frame that that song takes to play, because this is complete domination from San Francisco. Rascal has the duplicate if they need it, so does Blase on the other side, but everyone else on San Francisco is nearing ults, and the Houston Outlaws bank is empty.
What can you really do? Blase is going to have to come out rather big. He's got one ult, one opportunity. I'm not sure if he can take it. Oh, Dante just gets deleted. Rascal still doing a whole heap of damage. Who does he copy? That's the question. Moomer ends up going down. Not too many members left. In fact, you probably won't even be able to copy the Zen. Please copy Zen. Get instant transcendence and just style on them. He's just trying to dive the backline. He doesn't even do it because Shock are just going to take the map regardless. Quick and clean 2-0 on a racist. Oh my word. That was a speed run. There's not really much else you can say about that.
Here's the thing about copying someone if you're Rascal. That means that you're not Echo. And why would you want to give up Echo's kit if you're Rascal? He used the beam to perfection, the laser beam from above. Anyone who dropped even close to 50% was getting destroyed. That ended up being most of Houston Outlaws' front line. And San Francisco Shock, look, we expect them to win this, but that was a statement. They just crushed the Houston Outlaws.
You copy the Zen for the style points. Is that what you do? You just style on them as Zen and then change back and then fly up in the sky?
I think Rascal has enough style on his own.
Yeah, well, whether that's true or not, the Shock still end up taking that. My word. What Outlaws are really going to do in that situation? I like Dante picking up the May because May's pretty good on that in that point. But it's really good for defending because
it's good when you have
the choke point. Exactly. The choke point is one wall. Like, that's it. You can kind of isolate people, but Shock took the point first, and then Rascal was just permanently on the flank. There was no one to deal with him, and then Dante was struggling to get anything done, and then I mentioned it mid that last fight, you use the Flux when the Blizzard comes out, because then you're lifting people up into the air. They may have a better sightline on the frozen people, but you're forcing the supports to just unload so much healing and then utility to try and keep everybody alive in the Flux, so therefore they can't follow up onto the Blizzard. It was almost perfectly timed. Shock read Outlaws like a book.
It looks like it could be a short series.
Yes.
We opened the day with a sweep. We had a nice 5-mapper. We might bookend it with this sweep because the Outlaws looked lost. But the caveat always is control maps can be a little bit weird, and if you're the Outlaws, you just forget that just happened. Let's move on. That's sometimes it just be that way.
It do be that way sometimes. It's still winnable for the Outlaws, and I'm sure the fans will be cheering you on at home. We're going to jump to a quick break, though, guys. Do not go anywhere. Map number 2, very soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, helping you stay connected to what matters most. Learn about T-Mobile's COVID-19 response on T-Mobile.com.
And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. The Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury. With HyperX Fury Memory.
Hey guys, welcome back. Map number 2 coming up soon. We got Shock versus Houston, if you've only just joined us. Shock with a little bit of a steamroll on the first map of Oasis. Clean 2-0. Not overly many things to talk about, to be fair, apart from Rascal just kind of dominating the skies, and it's rather hard for Houston to really do anything to combat that.
No, it was something. Blink and you missed it.
Yeah.
It's about as dominant as a control map can go, so you just... deep breakdown, San Francisco is a better team than Houston.
There we go.
Boom, nailed.
It was perfect. Unbelievable. A star. You got the gold. Right, I think it's time though. We jump into our connections presented by Xfinity. We're going to look at Dante as a player. We did mention him at the very early on about him playing Sombra, but his Sombra is nothing to scoff at, and I hopefully we do see it a little bit later on in this series, because his stats tell a different story to how they're actually playing currently.
Yeah, and that's the connection that these two teams have, right? Dante was, many, many moons ago, a San Francisco Shock player. Then he ended up on the Houston Outlaws and actually helped his Houston Outlaws defeat the San Francisco Shock last season in Stage 3. I mean, that's Stage 3 Shock. That's nothing to scoff at, right? So he was playing the Sombra as well, and I think we're going to see a lot of Sombra in this mix. He had to go and play the Mei. That didn't work out for them, but, I mean, some of the stats that the Dante Sombra has put down have been absolutely insane, Jaws.
Yeah, hero damage, he's looking at 6.5k, ranked 2nd currently, but the most important stats you've got to look at is hack assists plus enemies EMP'd, right? And at the end of the day, a hack on its own, regardless of EMP, can actually just turn a fight and win a fight like that. If you hack the main tank, for example, a Reinhardt, a Winston, you can just take them out of the game instantly, because they can't leap away, they can't use their defensive cooldowns, and you can run over the backline because your main tank isn't there to defend them. Enemies EMP'd as well, obviously, is a good stat. 2nd place currently in the league at 13.6. Massively impactful is his Sombra, and that's one of the reasons why I want to see it, because I don't think you're going to be able to match Rascal. If you hack Rascal out of all his abilities and his flying, then you're probably going to be able to focus him down pretty easily.
He might still kill you, but some of the other stats I think are really important is enemies hacked. He's first in, because I don't like Sombras that are just EMP bots. Like, hey, I EMP'd, everyone win. Like, he's getting those hacks on other people when he doesn't have EMP, and that's because he has the 2nd fewest deaths as well. Like, a dying Sombra is a Sombra not charging EMP, so it all kind of enables each other. Dante, he can play the Sombra, he can play the Tracer as well for this team. He is the X factor. I don't see Houston winning matches in which Dante doesn't have good games.
Well, we have got a small substitution as well, it looks like, for the Houston Outlaws. I believe Linksa is coming into the fold, and that was, of course, your connections presented by Xfinity. And with Dante and Linksa coming in, well, it does kind of paint a different tale than what we saw on Oasis. I can imagine Linksa is going to be jumping over to the Ashe and maybe giving Dante actually room to move here on the Sombra.
Yeah, it's interesting, because you wouldn't think of Linkser as the Echo player. Echo has generally been these projectile players, or players like Rascal, who play everything. But Linkser is the hitscan ace. It's Finland's gift to esports, and I remember him just being one of the best Widowmakers in the league. He's got a great McCree, and Ashe is kind of that weird combination, the weird chimera between Widowmaker and McCree, which is a sniper, but she wears a cowboy hat. I think they just smash those heroes together, and they're like, oh, cool, new hero, Ashe. Good job, guys. We're done. And I think that Numbani especially can be a very good map for Ashe, because I find good maps for Soldier 76 translate well into good maps for Ashe, where you have that middle range and some utility that you can play alone a little bit. Numbani, we saw in Hanamura, those were always good 76 maps at certain points on the map, and I think maybe we'll be seeing that Ashe come out from Linkser. I'm just happy to see Linkser play. Just get into it a little bit.
It does feel like it. Numbani, like you said, is going to be the map up next. Outlaws on the defense. We got Shock on the offense. Surprise, surprise. Lynxes lock in the Ashe. Yeah, Dante actually on the Echo, so Yeah, a little bit surprising, I must say. I definitely thought he'd be on the Tracer because we have seen a lot of Tracer Ashe in the previous game.
Yeah.
Where we had Valiant play it, and it worked out pretty well, but, you know...
Tracer on the defense here, though, it's a little bit tough to play Tracer on the defense. You can, but you got to be, like, super aggressive and then wait for the team to make their move. Like, if they go upstairs, you come behind them. If they go downstairs, you come behind them. But either way, you're fighting in a small space as Tracer, and that's not ideal for your kit. So this makes sense, at least on the defense for this team. Maybe offensively, they'll run a Tracer Ashe variation or something along those lines. See what San Francisco ends up rolling out here on. Rascal is actually on the Sombra here. He gets ulted right away. Able to stay alive. So we have a Sombra Ashe duel. Sombra's going to get changed. Rascal's moving.
Yeah, there he is. I can imagine Echo. What are they looking for it? There it is. Yeah. So we have got a mirror. Alrighty. So it's going to be Rascal faced up against Dante. We know how devastating Rascal was last round. Can he do the same thing, or the Finland's gift to Esports be able to keep him in check? I said entry there from Rascal, although that was a little bit dangerous. We got two-tapped rather quickly. Speaking about getting two-tapped, Meko, he dead. Linkser, yeah, he pretty dead too. Striker two-taps him in the noggin, and that will be first point, I think. Oh my word.
It's that laser beam. I mean, it's the eraser tool. You just point it over people. It seems like a fully charged Zarya beam, right? It's like you just have that on a cooldown somehow. They get below 50%. He's burning through them. And you saw there, too, the immortality field is up. But the moment that falls from a single shot from someone, it gets burned down by the focus beam, is what it's technically called. I should call it the focus beam because Team Fort finally made a bunch of abilities that are easy to say on broadcast. So I will honor them. Yeah, Death Ray is just cool sound.
It's very cool. Yeah, the focus beam focusing people out. Like we touched on at the very start of the day, in fact, that focus beam does do additional damage when shields are low as well. If they're below 50% even, it will do increased damage, and that counts for basically everything. So you've got to keep in mind for that. Of course, Meko's shield. That's one of the reasons why I got deleted so quickly.
The flavor text is that it does extra damage to any targets below 50%, not just hero.
Well, that was a rather interesting position, B.O.B, like in the doorway. I think he wanted to get it outside, but didn't matter. Oh, Dante is beaming people down. Focus beam straight onto Joy. He's dead. Nice little, almost spawn cam there from Lynx. I don't want to play too aggressive though, but he's got the armor to back him up.
It was an important fight though to make sure that you can stave off the aggression from San Francisco Shock, because now you can play this first point and you'll probably get a second fight. If you lose that fight there, then you're maybe scrambling out to prevent them from getting the point. Rascal on a cheeky flank, as Rascals want to do.
Indubitably. Has got the ultimate as well. The question is, who's he actually copy? I got a feeling he's going to copy Meko in this situation. I can't imagine he's going to go for Linkser. Striker going for something rather cheeky here in the back line. Oh, he spots out one. Repel actually forced to use the immortality field there, as Rascal's also in there as BAP. He just cloned himself as BAP. I mean, okay, fair play. His BAP's pretty nasty, to be fair. Violet's going to take out Repel. Additional healing plus Window now available for Rascal. He ends up changing back. Window's still available to him as well. Dante gets chased out. What do you know? I was wrong. Didn't change into a tank, changed into a healer, and Shock ended up having second.
That's not fair. Rascal just changed into Season 2 Rascal when you revolutionized the Baptiste. Like, that's ridiculous. Rascal is such a nut. Oh, my God. San Francisco's still in a decent spot, too. Both tank ultimates. If you can hold this corner and just drop the supercharger, that's great. And also, you're going to have the Gravitic Flux, very helpful. Both teams have both ultimates up. This is execution.
It's a lot of ults. Flux used for both teams. Repel using his immortality field, although it gets destroyed by Smurf, eventually killing off Linkser. Striker just got dominated by Raucous there. Double headshot from the Zen. Rascal as well is going to go down in the back line. Not a good look right now for the Shock, but Violet still actually uses that window and gets dinked through it. Raucous claiming names on the Zenyatta. Didn't really want to, I felt like you didn't really want to use that. Two of your players were already dead, but still got a lot of time in their time bank. Plus, BAP does earn ult pretty quick.
Okay, some switches here. Moth is going to go over to the Zenyatta. I wonder if Violet is switching as well. Well, the Zen BAP is a really good combo here. So I was just going to try to give him the out since he used that ult so late. But, you know, Baptiste naturally charges ults with very Outlaws in a decent spot, though, as they will have ultimates available, including that bad T-stall.
It will make my day if they do end up cloning the Zen.
Barrier is unstable.
Cease your resistance. Adaptive circuits engaged. Orisa. Cease your resistance.
Speaking of one fights, that's a window. Oh, I'm repelled. He does get rocked, but manages to get behind shield just in time. Both Zenyatta's now down.
Activating the barrier.
Team up for special attack. Do something! 60 seconds remaining. Adaptive circuits engaged. Signal. Score 0-3. Switching sides. Initiating match.
Hello guys, welcome back. It's Outlaws versus The Shock. Sorry about that. A little bit of a brief pause. I believe our audio was missing from the broadcast there, but a couple of technical difficulties here and there.
It's important to note
It's
that
okay.
wasn't our fault. That was not us. The first one, definitely us.
Oh yeah, the first one was definitely us.
Yeah, I will take
the
that
machines broke.
This one,
like,
something
this time around.
something just started not working right, and it's tragic, really, because you guys missed some of the best 2 minutes of casting I think that have ever been performed by any human being ever. I think would
Unreal.
be a modest way of saying it. Is ridiculously good.
It's one for the casting Hall of Fame. that last 2 minutes.
Lost,
but, you know,
lost for all time now. What I was saying though, and I'll try to get through it briefly though, is it's unfair to have Rascal on a hero like Echo, because Rascal's biggest claim to fame is that he can pick up any hero quickly and master it. So if there's anyone that it's unfair that they can transform into any hero, it's Rascal, and I think San Francisco is going to make it work no matter what.
That they are. It's going to be Dante versus Rascal. That is going to be the duel. Those striker links. This is the comp that I thought would come out a lot of the time. That is a beautiful halt. Yeah, goodbye. Dante tried to do the Rascal and tried to actually go on a flank, but got halted. This is the comp that I thought would happen. Would be the, apart from I thought Zen may have been played, but the Ashe and the Echo to counter each other, I thought would be the play for most teams. Glad we're seeing it.
Yeah, mere matchups here. This seems to be Numbani got figured out pretty early on the offense and the defense, and
Oh my-
Striker just takes the off
Spawn
angle.
camping him. Oh, the duel. Oh, the
want it,
headshot.
Linkser? Do you want
Linkser,
it?
do it. Do it, Linkser, doing. We got 3 minutes remaining now, Hex. I mean, only 1 minute has been burned, and the Outlaws have made no impact, no dent on the Shock. And look at this. Striker is spawn camping the DPS of the Outlaws.
And look, with Numbani, 2 minutes is almost guaranteed only 2 pushes. These fights take a long time. The walk back is extremely long for the offense to approach this first point. A lot of unused areas of the map.
Nice halt
Houston's
again.
trying to get these halt sticky bombs in, but they're not doing enough.
That one definitely was. And now look at this Striker on the side. No one can deal with it. That's the thing. Link's is going to have a hard time actually getting in position. So as Dante, who's getting torn apart, this is very painful for the Outlaws currently. There's nothing that can deal with Striker, and Striker even has B.O.B if they want to try and contest point.
And Rascal's doing a great job of using the beam on shields. Once he sees the actual visual effect of them being cracked, he's hitting that beam, and that shield melts a lot quicker. And it's in your brain of like when a shield's going to crack as a team, but then all the damage comes through.
Oh, there's the flux. Not doing all too much. Immortality Field's going to save him for the time being. Rockers ends up going down though. B.O.B on the point, but Striker, yeah. B.O.B's not going to aim at somebody. He's going to permanently aim on those shields, so Striker's more than okay to actually just sit there and do damage. Rascal on the flank though. Linkser gets instantly destroyed. And now the Outlaws trying to make their way onto the point, but Smurf's already there to try and contest. They do, however, get a point, tick at least. That's a lot of damage onto Rascal as he ended up changing into an Orisa, but straight back as he got exploded. However, now it is Dante's turn. He is going to get supercharged rather fast. Someone's going to have to stop him. No one can. A lot of healing getting pumped into the front line of the Shock. There's going to be a real bongo coming out from Smurf right now as he's on the sidelines. Violet takes down Meko, and it's Mover in the back corner here trying to duel against everybody, and B.O.B is even on the field. A beautiful headshot by Striker to send Linkser packing, and a dynamite as well to finish off Raucus. Outlaws might just get held at first here.
Yeah, that was all interesting. I've got a good idea for 4 Orisas on a team for a name. I'm just going to float it. We'll workshop it. What do you think about like Kentucky Derby?
Kentucky Derby? I'm not American enough to understand
Oh, it's
that.
a horse
I was
race.
thinking more of a stampede.
That's better. Way better. Much more universal.
Stampede.
I was thinking only American, which, you know, it's not common of Americans to be like that, so it's surprising. Stampede.
Well, you
I'm
know.
for it. Yeah, Stampede.
Stampede, we're in it.
But as you
Okay,
mentioned,
there it is.
30 seconds left. Outlaws have nothing. This is a little bit brutal. The long
That was
distance frisbee.
A very selfish window, by the way, from Violet, not helping Striker out whatsoever. And now, yeah, Striker's now cracked. You're like, really? You put it here? Like, I'm right next to you, buddy. I could have used some of that damage. Rascal almost has ult. Striker has ult. Joy Oben almost has ult. No defensive ultimates available, though. Got that immortality field still to use, though. Rascal's high in the sky. Who's it going to change into? Might not need to change into anybody, to be fair, because it might be all over. Linkser ends up going down as Rascal transforms himself into the Sigma. And that'll be the rest of Outlaws falling down. The instant flux finishes off Repel. And the Shock managed to full hold Outlaws. in what could be a rather quick series. Outlaws are going to have to come back with something special. We saw it in the match number 2 earlier on today with the Valiant, but it's not looking good for the Outlaws right now.
You missed a little bit of Overwatch, but you didn't miss much. The results are the same. San Francisco dominating the Houston Outlaws.
Yeah, we're going to jump to a quick break, guys. Do not go anywhere. We got the Shock and Outlaws, potentially the final map, coming up soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by ZipChair Gaming, the official chair supplier of the Overwatch League.
Break presented by Pringles Wavy. This game is going fast, everyone.
I mean, what do you even say, Zoe?
I honestly, what do we even say? Let's see what we can come up with in this very halftime. For now, let's actually just take a look at the first 2 maps as they went by in a blink. So you might have missed a few things, and we're of course here to, you know.
I mean, you couldn't have missed a lot, could you?
Probably not. The only thing really coming to my mind right now is map 1, we're seeing Dante on May. Map 2, we're seeing Dante on Echo. Any idea what's going on? Was that working as intended? Was that a plan based on map?
We've seen this before. We're going back. I'm taking us back to the start of the season when we had Raucous and Repel flipping back and forth on who's playing the flex support. We see the same thing here. We see Blase on flex on the Echo in the first map, and then Dante on Echo in the second map. I hope there are reasons rather than their playstyle for this. You know, maybe they wanted Dante to maybe play Tracer or Sombra at some point, and we just didn't really see it. But it's been a really rough game for the Houston fans and the team, because honestly, Rascal's just taking these guys to town, and it's just not even close.
Yeah, I just don't even like the slow pace coming out of the Houston Outlaws. I mean, we were going into this game, and we're thinking, right, it's going to be Muma on Winston, they're going to play Dante on Tracer, and then you can have a, no, sorry, Dante on Echo, and then you can kind of build around that, and up the tempo a little bit, play fast, right? But instead, I'm just going to borrow this phrase from Bren, from his Nightcast where he rambles.
Please do.
Where it's essentially, they just get pulled apart like pulled pork. I mean, it's incredible. They just play so slow that you give the best, I mean, one of the best teams in the league, the opportunity to just pull you apart and just tear you up and digest you whatever way you want to. And the Houston Outlaws, I'm sorry, you gotta step up your game. You gotta play a bit faster. I don't like this slow approach that you're bringing to the game.
How do we feel about these compositions in general? I mean, playing an Orisa into heroes which, quite frankly, are breaking that shield fairly fast. Is that the way to go in this scenario? I mean, both played similar compositions, but still, it didn't really work out for the Outlaws as their shield was gone within a heartbeat.
I would be really interested to know if Houston came in with the idea to play like the Echo Winston dive, because the San Francisco Shock came out with something really interesting that we haven't really seen from many other teams, which was like the Baptiste Brig with like double shield comp with the Echo and the Ashe. We haven't really seen that from anyone else so far, and it's actually working really well, and you saw it happen in the first map. San Francisco are just sort of playing it slowly and just taking space and then just getting pick after pick after pick, which might make it really hard for the Houston Outlaws to dive it. So I hope this is the reason that Houston Outlaws have been caught a little bit unprepared, and I hope that Houston can come into this halftime, talk it out, work it out between them, and then sort of, you know, come back like the Valiant did with a better strategy.
Lots of hoping, I
There's
see.
a lot of
well,
hoping,
guys, it is now time for Crunch Time presented by Pringles Wavy. And we already mentioned him, Rascal. He was just stomping all over his opponents without wearing shoes.
Yeah, I mean, he showed us that he probably is the best Echo so far in the league, because it was such a dominant performance, and he showed how swiftly he made his decisions, flying around in the air, taking great angles, getting so much damage in, getting so many picks, great ultimates all around. And I mean, this is what we talked about in the pre-show, and I mean, everyone knew it beforehand. It's no secret. Many people predicted that Rascal was going to be the best Echo player in the league, at least to begin with, because he is so fast to adapt to all of these new heroes. I mean, like the casters even said themselves, dating back to Season 2, he was arguably the best Baptiste in the league when Baptiste came out. He even taught Moth how to play Baptiste because he had such a superior...
He taught him all he
well,
knows.
not quite.
Wow.
Not quite, but, you know, up there.
No, let's go there.
We expected Rascal to be so incredibly good on Echo, and he absolutely is so far, and it's making a lot of difference in this matchup. I mean, if every team had a Rascal, it would be very even, but it's not, because just one team has Rascal.
Okay, so since we already gave levels to the Echoes we saw, and I think the highest level we saw so far was level 4, what level is Rascal?
I think he's in the double digits. I think he's that far ahead that I'm going to put him at like a respectable 12. Okay,
yeah.
Rascal is
out of 100.
Okay, we have
a
long way to go. That's like when we're in beta playing a monkey and people didn't realize how you could like do the most basic text and stuff like that. We're still at that point.
Costa called Rascal beta.
No, Rascal's still 7 levels ahead of every other Echo player. But we're still just scratching the surface of what you can do with this character.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Rascal is like around 12, 13. He's over in Westfall killing boars and stuff. You know, he's still grinding, but he has an advantage
honestly,
over the
I
others.
think he's ready for Hogger, and I say that with
yeah, for sure, yeah.
Whoa. He might solo him. Anyway, we're also going to play one.
We got to stop.
I'm not sure where to go from here, but things are going great.
We're just having a laugh
anyway, and we're having a good laugh. You know who doesn't? Probably the Outlaws. So let's see if they can bring it back in the second half against the San Francisco Shock. This is our last game of the day, and stick around for our post show right after. But for now, it is time to send it back over to Jaws and Hex for all the action.
This league is brought to you by Pringles Wavy. Big crunch, big flavor. Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Hey guys, welcome back. Outlaws on the brink of extinction currently as we have the San Francisco Shock 2-0 up in the series after that full hold on Numbani.
What a dynamite opener. First I was going to comment on like brink of extinction. That's harsh, but you know, accurate. And then you just San Francisco treated me. That's stunning. I am so proud of you, Jaws. That was amazing. I have nothing more to add because this match has been very, very one-sided.
Yeah, that it has. Map sets coming up for you. Let's have a look. It's gonna be Paris. And this map, oh boy, full holds, and more full holds. I think we're gonna see. It's
very possible. The Outlaws have not looked good at all. The first control map won 100-0, 100-0 in the most dominant fashion possible. I think I've seen maps that were more dominant where a team didn't get a single kill. I'd have to go back and look at how many kills the Outlaws got, but I think it was more than one. And then the San Francisco Shock were able to get towards the end of Numbani, and then Houston was unable to capture the first point in an impotent offense on Numbani. That's how we got to our 0-2 scoreboard, and on the verge of the San Francisco Shock sweeping the Houston Outlaws. It's tough to be an Outlaws fan because one week you look like you're hanging with the Dallas Fuel, you take them to 5 and things can go either way. The next week you run into the bulldozer that is the San Francisco Shock and you just don't know how to feel. It's an up and down season, but right now, you know, Houston is not looking good. Maybe chalk that up to the fact that their opponents are the returning champions of the Overwatch League, but it's still tough.
I think it's definitely what you can chalk it up to be honest. Shock just looks so good, and Rascal on this new hero, and like you mentioned several times, the guy is absolutely insane, and whatever role, whatever hero you put him on, he's going to perform at the highest levels, and Echo seems like the perfect hero for him because he can play literally anything. We saw a few Baptiste clones earlier on. Like, he can play Baptiste. He, like you said as well, Hex, revolutionized Baptiste.
He made Baptiste. He was the first one to play and played at a high level. Like, Rascal comes off. But, like, I feel like they introduced...
you're going to clone for that.
If they introduced a new hero, I feel that Rascal could figure out that hero during the time of the duplicate itself. It's like, what do I got? How many seconds? Okay, I've mastered it. We're good.
Yeah, we got it. It's fine. We good. And he's exactly what he's going to play right now. He's going to play the Echo. We've got Lynx again, staying in. On the defense, we've got an Asher. We've got an Echo coming up from day as well.
San Francisco will be on the offense here. They've run a lot of the same things. This is a little bit different, though. Choi Hyobit, okay. Changes, they go back to what they've been running so far in this very brief match. It looks like we're going to see a mirror-ish Moth on the Zen.
I like it.
Yeah.
Shield damage, Transcendence pretty good. It's the only person that's really gonna like make your life a pain, really. But he's gonna get checked by Striker, so quite well protected. Well, you have a Baptiste, which has a lot of burst healing. Good start though. Taking out Violet. Take out Rascal too. Yes, he can. Of course he can. There's double shots. He gets launched into the air. Oh, the 2 tap.
A couple of nice kills. It's going to send San Francisco packing. San Francisco would like to get a trade here because they're going to spawn earlier. Lynxer with his third so far in the defense.
Hey.
Didn't quite a Bob though. He got 3 kills, only 37%. Sadly. You'd expect more, but
I mean, your dynamites. The dynamite's really your alt feeder.
Oh, 100%.
Right, back to the drawing board for San Francisco. A minute off the clock. Probably 3 more pushes here.
Spam from Rascal. Really got to look for these whole... Yeah, that's exactly what you're looking for. Like, damage is crazy! Especially with the Zen, you discord them as soon as they get up into the air, you stand no chance. You can't really cleanse yourself because there's no Zarya. It's a bit of a pain. Mover taking a whole heap of damage as well. Rascal's going to have his ult online rather soon, but Dante is going to be there to match him. Mover ends up going down. 2 tanks now falling for the Outlaws. However, Lynx at least comes back with 1. Speaking of tanks falling, one's going to resurrect, kind of. Dante ends up training into the Orisa, but gets destroyed. The Orisa health bar and his own just instantly disappearing with the help of Moth and his Discord orbs. Choi and Smurf now making their way onto the point.
Yeah, and this is just an inevitable slow grind down here. It's like nature's erosion. It's going to take a while, but eventually that mountaintop's going to get flattened. Nice little stagger out there. San Francisco Shock did not have to use ultimates to take that point. They just are going to bank them all up now. Going to be in a really good spot on the assault map to try to take this next one. Rascal far forward. And yeah, you mentioned he's just spamming that primary, but why wouldn't you? The clip is large and it reloads seemingly instantly.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's 15 shots. Feels like if we do see changes to Echo, I think maybe we see a change to that because it is very spammy. The uptime is kind of great. A lot of ults, though, available for the shot, because Dante has switched over to the Tracer. Oh, trying to dueling out at the back. A lot of headshots, and a forced recall already, and goodbye. Sent up into the skies, and Mecho's going to get beamed down as well. My goodness. B.O.B is also going to just do B.O.B things. This is going to be it. Oh, there you go. Yeah, Rascal with 5 kills. And point counts. Well, there it is. 4 minutes and a second. Basically resetting your whole time there. Second there. It's, well, what more can you say?
I mean, I feel bad for Dante in that situation because you want to be pressuring Rascal. You can't just let him do whatever he wants. But at the same time, one of the last players in the world I want to pressure is Rascal on Echo. He gets a couple of shots, forces out the recall, and then just beams him down, gets through, gets so much damage. There's not much to say about this match, Jaws. I hope you have something else to say.
You are just lining them up today.
Yeah, gotcha, man.
For me to swing them. Remember, guys, we can all play a part together. Activision Blizzard and Overwatch League are proud to support the World Health Organization to encourage our players to play a part together. Using that hashtag as well, hashtag play a part together. When we play a part together, we're using one of the most powerful preventative strategies to protect ourselves, our loved ones, and everybody else. We all have the power to combat this pandemic by staying at home, playing games, chilling out, hanging out, doing whatever you want to do. Play some Overwatch. Like we mentioned before, playing some board games online, whatever you so choose to do. We can all make this a lot more of a smoother process and have it end a lot quicker.
Yeah, speaking of board games, I think this is a San Francisco Shock board game, but B-O-R-E-D. The Shock don't let their feet off the gas, though, and it's what I've always respected about them. Back when we had to do, like, 4-0 maps and every map mattered, etc., I always wanted Shock, because Shock wouldn't, like, throw away a map on whatever. It's like they have things they want to get done and things to do. Dynamite comes over the top, doesn't necessarily get anybody, but the Shock, they don't mess around. Like, if they have your back against the wall, they're just going to end it because they're busy. They want to go stream, they want to go do other stuff.
they busy. That's the sentiment right now. Links almost dies. I'll tell you what, though, one thing about Echo, when you get attacked with the sticky bombs, it really does feel like it does a lot more damage than it initially does. That's a good start, though. Smurf going down. Like, if you have one bomb on you, it feels like you got 17, and it feels like it's going to one-shot you, but it doesn't. Sometimes it can be slightly misleading. Dante goes pretty low, so does Repel. Rascal is going to get taken out by Raucus. Good start for the Outlaws, though.
I mean, it's a 6v4. The Outlaws should, by all rights, win this one and probably get a couple of exit kills if San Francisco's not careful. Yeah, San Francisco can't fight that, so they're going to straight up give... Wait a minute. Wait
a second. While it's discorded, Choi's going pretty low. The beam's going to just send him packing as Zoom follows that up. That's because they're going down. Don't think they can recontest. Someone does. Someone's on the point currently. The Violet is also dead. So, this should be it, surely. There is still a bee in the sky in Rascal. Striker's going to take 2 kills and take 2 lives with him. Repel and Linkser. There's the point, finally getting capped. Nice little attempt to stall there. They did find the picks, but they couldn't get rid of Mecho and Muma, so it's a bit harder to actually find the space to work with.
Yeah, big tanks on the point, big health pools. Really hard to wipe up in those uneven situations like that. San Francisco on the defense is nearing a B.O.B and a duplicate of their own. If they need to buy time, Violet could always drop the amplification matrix and buy them some time. Right now, the Outlaws actually at a faster pace than the San Francisco Shock. 5 minutes on their clock. Of course, San Francisco finished Paris with 4 minutes on the bank. And the Outlaws might want to play this a little bit patiently. Wait for Flux, wait for B.O.B. They've got Transcendence. Now they're in a bit of an advantage here.
Oh, they want to. Whoa, Rascal got owned there. Repel helping out with the window. Linkser finds another kill. Finish gift to Esports. There we go. Linkser with 3. That's what you want to see if you're an Outlaws fan. They're not out of the series just yet. Not when Linkser has something to say about it. A Dynamite in the back. Rascal's going pretty low. Can't quite find the clone. And there it is. Okay. Outlaws finishing with a quicker time bank. Now, obviously, the time bank does end up depleting itself if you you haven't been around Overwatch in a little while, they did make a change, so the time banks get depleted until one of them does reach 2 minutes, and then that amount of time is taken off the other time bank. So 2 minutes and 40 for Outlaws. Shock with 2 minutes.
Yeah. I think
they get a chance to attack first.
The straw that broke the time banks back was I believe we had a match, like 2 matches in 1 week that were 6-6 on Volskaya.
That's
like 7-6. We were just like, we were breaking points records back and forth, and eventually it's just like, well, let's just not do that anymore. It's just not.
And otherwise, that would have been we would have started the map again, basically, with Outlaws just in the lead. So makes a whole bunch of sense.
But as it is, 40 seconds advantage. Nothing to sneeze at. It could end up being a little bit of a... You could presumably get another push there if you're on offense, but they will kick off the map on defense here. Doesn't seem like we're going to change any heroes across the board. Yet, offensively, Moth is on the Brigida, and defensively, Raucus on the Zenyatta. That was switched to open the map. Raucus was playing a defensive Brigida, and Moth was playing an offensive Zen. Some interesting little wrinkle. Other than that, most of the same heroes. Striker on the Tracer, though. Okay. They are switching things up.
Yeah, no Ash this time around. Maybe he goes for the switch here. Although, would he have switched by now? Yeah, he's definitely staying. Big dive onto the high ground, I can imagine.
Shaka, a whole different strategy. Smurf to scout.
Pushed out, almost killed. Yep. Coach does a lot of work. Violet's going to have to be careful though. But look how Outlaws are playing. They're playing rather passive, or now they can play rather aggressive as Rascal ends up going down in the duel.
They might just wait for Rascal to come back here. Striker's all the way around on back point. Yeah, they're just waiting.
Actually pushing. Violet's going pretty low, but it's whatever. A little bit of poke damage from Dante if you can shrug it off. Dynamite going in here. Adjusting angle of attack. That is a cool voice line. Oh, Rascal didn't stand a chance. Rascal is playing a little bit too aggro for my liking, I think. He's very much up in their faces, not really respecting Link's and Dante damage. Although Raucus ends up going down with the Violet taking 2. In fact, Link's falls. Okay, Rascal's going down to the Linkser. Then hey, guess what? Violet's just going to back you up. No worries. Dante's going to fall as well. Triple kill for the support. Thank you very much. Almost a quad kill as Moomer ends up going down. That's how you carry as a Baptiste, ladies and gentlemen.
Violet also can adjust his attack angle thanks to the mad hops that he's got right there. They're able to get this point, and that is actually really important because sometimes on the defense you can hold for 2 minutes. You don't see a lot of 4-4 Paris maps because of the time bank changes. So 45 seconds is San Francisco's last gasp at it, and they're making wholesale changes as they go in. They're going to add in double shield, Strikers off the Tracer onto the Ashe. They have to be relying on Rascal to open this up with some sort of ultimate.
Outlaws doing the same though. Meko switching over to Sig. And we do have Raucus on the Zen. Sigma versus Sigma, starting again with ult charge, like you were saying. They did change over, of course. Dante with ult, potentially. Rascal with ult as well. 10% away for each of them. Who do they clone? It's got to be tanks. There's the window. Shock are going to push into it, though. A little bit haphazardly, I must say. Smurf almost goes instantly destroyed. Rascal changing over this time around. He's going to copy an Orisa. He's going to fortify in front of everybody. And then just put up shield, put up shop, and hopefully get a supercharger down. He's got a couple of seconds to go. He's going to be able to get it online in just a moment as Link says B.O.B does end up falling. Another clone comes out as Dante changes over to an Orisa as well. Supercharger is going to come through from the clone from Rascal. So an additional whole heap of damage heading towards Outlaws. But Repel taking 2. Look at the assist in the kill feed as well. Smurf and Choi end up going down, but
yeah,
they don't touch. Okay, I wasn't looking at the time. I wasn't looking at the little thing then. I was very much looking at Rascal's B.O.B. Okay, so Shock step off the point for not just a brief moment. OT ticks through, and that'll be it.
I mean, the idea
3
of
points
the flank,
in the time bank.
The idea of the flank almost worked, but they had lost too much on the point. Not the most prolific Rascal play ever there. It took him a little bit to get that supercharger up, and so then it expired. But he was missing shots, not able to track on the Sigma. It was kind of odd. But we'll just chalk that up to one time on Rascal. Not everyone's going to be perfect at all times. Now the Houston Outlaws can avoid the goose egg in the win column if they can take progress on the second point. Gotta get the first one first, though.
I didn't even get that reference.
Which reference?
Goose egg and a wing column.
Yeah, goose egg, 0.
Oh.
I didn't. That's not like an archaic weird reference. That's not like my normal level of like 1 in 100,000 people get it reference.
Goose egg. You know. Oh right. Okay. Well.
That's
something I need to write down.
It's just a way to say 0. Would you prefer squadouche?
What's the wind tunnel then?
I said wind column. Did I say tunnel?
Oh, it sounded like you said wind tunnel. That's why I was like, wait, what? How would, like, why
No,
would an egg be in a
that
wind
would
tunnel?
be weird, but I think we can make it stick.
Are
Goose
you
egg in the wind
testing
tunnel.
the aerodynamics of an egg? Like, what are you doing?
Is it unladen?
Where is this reference going?
Is it an unladen egg? Anyway.
No, it's hard-boiled. Anyway, 2 minutes and 25 seconds for Outlaws to push on to this first point. Rather slow engagement, waiting for those holes, waiting for the damage to come in from Dante. It was a very quick and clean sweep from Outlaws last time around. Immortality field used fairly early as well. It's not a good sign. Probably going to have to wait for this one. Rascal again playing so aggro. Nice double headshot by Striker there. The 2-tap ends up taking out Linkser. Oh, coach gun straight back. The bullets followed you, unfortunately. He's going to take a long time to come back from spawn. In fact, if I was Striker, I'd actually change to a Tracer at this point to just get back in time. Just forego the B.O.B. Yeah, there you go. Striker on the Tracer just to get back to make sure they fight at 6.
It's a little bit faster than using the coach gun into the wall technique mobility. Rascal's got to be careful. There he does get out.
Only just. Only just. Yeah, now Dante's going to have a big ult here if he's the shotgun kept. Rascal taking fairly low as well. Rascal, again, just playing so aggro. It's like he's disrespecting the damage that is already coming out from Dante. Dante has got a read on him at this point. It's like, okay, he goes aggro. I played defensive. We can get a kill rather easily. The window's going to come out, but Outlaws are already on the point. A lot of shields to block that window's way, but they get instantly destroyed as Dante tries to use his focusing laser to try and burn them down. Clone's available. If he doesn't want to use it, he's going to have to maybe clone Tracer? Maybe? Probably not. Beam coming out again. Immortality Field's going to save him. Both Immortality Field's now down. He does change straight into the Sigma in the back line as well. The rock hits Choi. He ends up falling. Striker taking out Raucus is a good start for the shock. However, Movement going pretty low. Dante rising everybody up in the air, but his team are already dead. He has to now clutch this one out. Moth ends up going down to the Flux. Dante in the air, helping off Mego to finish off these kills. And now with only 40 seconds remaining, the Shock are going to have to cap this point. I mean, the Outlaws, sorry, are going to have to cap this point. Shock are in a very good position to defend.
Getting absolutely pushed back. Striker was harassing Raucus a lot of the time, and it drew some of Dante's fire away, made him miss a couple of targets that he perhaps could have beamed down. Now San Francisco Shock on the defense is going to have that pulse bomb, which could straight up win them the fight, especially considering Raucus is still on that Zenyatta and doesn't have his Transcendence yet, and Choryobin's going to have Flux.
This is very bad news. Yeah, this Flux is going to be so big. Of course, they managed to make it back in time. Window's going to open up the fight as Violet ends up going down. Now they're only relying on Moth healing. Rascal's on the side, playing a little bit too aggressive. Ends up taking on Meko. Meko with 2 kills, and now Lynx is sitting behind the window doing so much damage. Meko with 3, in fact. Meko putting Outlaws on his back to carry them on this first point. Choi ends up falling 2, and the Outlaws now have 30 seconds to try and take this map off of the Shock.
Shock can no longer win this map. You see the little yellow chick, or tick, at checkmark tick. Yeah, I combined them. Yes, it's a little chickadee. Anyway, that's where they have to get their progress to. 10 seconds to do so, and Linkser just can throw in B.O.B. B.O.B. counts as a dude on the point.
Don't forget to touch. Someone has to touch. The Flux is going to bring everybody up high in the sky. Contested. There you go. That's what you want to see. B.O.B. is on the point as well as Dante, just fending off the damage. There's going to be a big kill onto the B.O.B. and the stick in the back line is going to be good, but no one ends up going down. The Immortality Field saving them for the time being. Spawn advantage for the Shock as Striker and Rascal turn the back line to mincemeats. The Shock have come back in this map only just to find the draw. Linkser ends up falling. It's the last one left. It's going to be Dante. He ends up going down. The Outlaws not out of this series just yet. A Shock find the draw.
Just barely able to keep themselves alive, head above water. Links are in chat all over the place today. And we're going to go to a map 4 with San Francisco still up 2-0.
That was, I got a feeling that was, a lot of that was on Rascal playing so aggressive, Hex. Like, He was off to the side, disrespecting the damage from Linksa, disrespecting the damage from Dante. Dante really had a kind of a read on him, like I said in the last fight on point A.
Definitely on that map, Dante got the better of him. And yeah, you mentioned the word disrespect, but that's kind of on brand with the San Francisco Shock of how they treat teams. Like, they don't respect their opponents until those opponents earn respect, and I dare say that Houston Outlaws have not just yet. So you kind of expect San Francisco to play that way. Outlaws responded to it, and Dante was able to punish it. Like I said in the pregame, Dante's the X factor for this team. You're not going to win a match if you're the Houston Outlaws. If Dante's not having a good game, he did just that. And yeah, there were times where Rascal made it a little bit easy for him.
Made it a little bit too easy. I'm glad we're seeing a little bit more Linksa in play, that is for sure. His Ashe has been paramount to their success so far.
I like that.
And even Mecco.
Linksa's still like trying to figure out Ashe, it seems. He keeps asking Striker what his scoped sensitivity is and stuff. He's like just trying to get his Ashe even better. It's funny.
Well, Smurf answered for him apparently. Like 2. Change it to 2.
Yeah.
Maybe you win. Maybe you click more heads. Wow. Imagine the enemy tank giving you advice on the scope sense if you're Linksa. I mean, it is, to be fair, it is a little bit odd. You spoke a little bit about previously, I think it was the last map or even match. Ashe's scoped in shots is a little bit, sometimes it feels a little bit wonky. There's definitely a way to do it, and there's definitely a way to get consistent at it, but it's just so different from a lot of other heroes. But Linksa, you know, proving his worth. Same with Mecco, almost solo carried that first point, got a triple kill on the Sigma, managed to cap, but they can't manage to find the W on Paris. We're going to jump to a fourth map, guys. Do not go anywhere. Outlaws, they're not out of this just yet. We could go all the way to 7 maps. We'll have to wait and see. Well, yes, we can, in fact. We'll see in a bit.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, helping you stay connected to what matters most. Learn about T-Mobile's COVID-19 response on T-Mobile.com.
Welcome back, everybody. We can't go to 7. We can only go to 6. We debated that in the small break there. My brain is mush right now. It's not working. Winning the series. It is.
I've been casting Overwatch for a very, very long time. I've been playing even longer, and I've never seen it happen. I believe it is recorded somewhere that it did happen in a competitive match, but I'd have to look it up. But it's just super unlikely. It means that neither team gets any push. So very unlikely. This match will either end on Rialto with San Francisco winning, or we will force into another control if Houston is able to bring it back. That is going to be our next map on Rialto. Just looking to see if we have any substitutions. It does not seem that we do. So we should be getting into map just a little bit. Houston keeping their head above water. It wasn't pretty, but you know, it's not a loss. So if you can't get a win, get a draw. Maybe a draw leads to a win. You know, like you got to start.
Yeah, snowball out of control.
If you're a team like Houston, you got to appreciate every small victory that you get. A draw on Paris against a San Francisco Shock team. It's a small victory. Take it.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's
it's a lowercase W. It's not like a dub, but it's
it's not like a.
W. Yeah.
It's not like a big dub. It's like a small dub, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
I want to touch back on the fact that the DPS are getting changed out. Right, it's something that we discussed last series with Shax and the rest with the Valiant, because you're looking at Outlaws as another team that has a lot of quite a lot of depth when it comes to it. We got Blase that can play something like Echo, Doomfist, Fire, etc. I definitely thought we'd see more Blase, to be fair, than we have been seeing currently. But they want to run Linkser, and Dante's Echo has just been really good, to be fair. Linkser definitely needs to stay in though, 100%. Like his Ashe is so, like his aim in general is just so good. You're not really ignoring the front line, but your main focus is there just trying to help your Echo just kill the enemy Echo, so your Echo could then pressure the back line with all your damage and burst, and making the support's life a little bit more of a misery. And so I'm not entirely surprised we're seeing Linkser come in for these maps, although I feel like Blase is going to be just so insane on Echo. I would really like to see it one day.
Yeah, I was looking for that Blase redemption arc. He didn't have the greatest start to the season. Obviously took a lot of criticism for that, but that's kind of a Houston as a whole. Didn't have a great start to the season. I think maybe they're running Dante and Linkser in the chance that they need to really run like an Echo and a Tracer, that you could put Linkser on the Tracer necessarily instead of Blase. And maybe, I think Dante's probably just the best player on this team. At least the best damage dealer on this team. I think that's fair to say that Dante's the best damage dealer on the Houston Outlaws. And so then you try to figure out, okay, let's use some of his full abilities. The best hero that we're going to run in almost all comps is going to be the Echo. Put him there. What do we maybe run with Echo, Ashe, or Tracer? Then that's Linkser's domain. So I don't think it's an indictment on Blase. It's more of like, this is the comp we want to run, and Linkser's probably got a better Tracer than you, Blase. That's about it.
Yeah, I can definitely see the logic there. It's good to see, of course, them swapping out regularly too. It's nice to see your favorite player take to the map. Speaking of maps, we're on Rialto. Nice little one for the Echo, I can imagine. We're going to see, Outlaws on the defense, running what they've been running previously. Raucous on the Zen. I still really like the Zen in these comps, I really do, because you put so much additional pressure on the Echo. No, I'm not just saying that because we're a Zen player, but the Discord Orb on the Echo just means it's so much easier for Linkser to just get, boom, one-tap headshot.
Yeah, the trade-off sometimes is that you're also putting a lot of extra pressure on your other healer because you just don't have the healing output. It is also a very good ultimate, too. But no, I agree. I love seeing Zen in games because I love his kit so much and the versatility of his kit. It's really interesting. And, you know, it's not surprising to see Ashe come out here because Rialto just traditionally has also been a good Widow and or Ashe map to begin with. So this makes perfect sense.
That it does. Mirror comps either side. So see. Cheeky dynamite. Nope. Straight into shield. Yeah. Unfortunate. Dante's still taking a little bit of damage there. It's a quick drop. You don't really stay up here. There's no way. You give up way too much room if you stay up here.
Sometimes you'll see like a D.Va hide in the corner around there in case the entire team of the offense rotates up top, then the D.Va can knock them off.
Might be Sigma's role in this case. Oh, strike. He's on the side. The classic DPS flank. Forcing out Mortality Field as well is pretty good. Raucous, the Linkser end up falling. Moth and Violet end up going down as well. Dante taking over the skies. It's just about which Echo can kill everybody first. Apparently it's Rascal. Choi ends up taking out Dante, chases him down. Now the Shock with a beautiful halt off into the moat or the Riviera.
Yeah,
Meko. It's going to be a hard recontest.
Literally dipping his toes into the water is Meko. I don't think Houston can come back and fight this. They don't have any mobile heroes to get up there quickly enough. They're just going to have to back out.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, really. You just, with these kind of comps with no Lucio, like you said, or mobile heroes, it's one fight and that's it, really. You don't really get much else on this one.
Yet another role star for the San Francisco Shock is Moth on the main support. That's what that icon next to his name means. They also have one on the bench, I believe, in Super. So we talk about the talents of this team, and you know they've got the accolades to show it.
Oh, most definitely. Shock, we mentioned before, not looking their old selves at the start of the season, but turning it around easy peasy. Oh dear, that's a very big hole onto Muma. You see that sticky bomb straight into the focusing laser. Dante in the sky is going to get taken out by Moth. Striker falls, but hey, that supercharger right next to the payload should end the fight rather quickly. Although Raucous still killing people, you know, it's good. I mean, it's all fine.
You mentioned that the sticky bomb like seems scarier than it is, and I think part of that is because you know when you're stuck that the mean beam is just going to come right after it. Like it's going to get you down to 50. So it's like it's not the sticky bombs that's going to kill you. It's just that those are the ticking time bomb that are the harbingers of the
Oh no! He pulled a Josh! He pulled a Josh! He pulled the Sideshow Transcendence! The escaping Transcendence. It actually worked out. Wow. Unlike Josh, who normally ends up running off the map. My word. That would be Moth and Choi Open end up going down. I was very surprised that actually worked. You never normally see it. That'll be Repel taking out his like for like in Violet. Rascal's still doing a whole heap of damage.
Got it!
Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you... Really? Are you serious? Are you... Really? You win the fight, and this happens? Seriously? I'm a disappointed dad is what I am.
I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
The Shock. And Russell says, Bob, good job. Bob MVP. Bob MVP of the match.
Was that Bob on the card? I don't know what happened.
It may have been. We were expecting someone else.
Oh, anyway, it happened. The past is the past. Let's move forward. 4:40 left on the offense for the San Francisco Shock. Choi Hyobin is going to have his Gravitic Flux, and it's actually a decent spot to use it if the other team comes under the bridge. You slam him up, slam him down.
Expensive aggro here. I mean, he can change whenever he wants. Supercharger is back as well. That damage was doing a whole bunch of damage. Does everybody want to use anything now? Oh, nice kill. On to Dante as Rascal just chasing through this full corridor. Boomer going a little bit too far forward as well.
Great pick.
It'll be okay for the time being. Dante's going to come back with ult as well, actually, so there's something else to be scared of.
Well, San Francisco, I mean, this is a tough spot to push into. You're sitting in the archway. It's kind of reminiscent of Dorado. There are a couple of flanks that you can go on to, but it's just the defender's advantage is going to be huge, especially in this mirrored double shield. You're fighting uphill, which is never a great idea, and San Francisco is also fighting into ultimates. They're going to need tank ults to win the day.
Oh, he manages to get the last little bit of a flick there to try and kill off Meko, and he does just that. Bob's definitely doing a little bit more than you'd expect it to do, as Rascal and Choi end up going down, but Striker with the double dynamite kill and Moth with the 1v1 against Dante. Okay, well, looked like such a good fight for the Outlaws to start off with, completely gets flipped around as the individual players coming out from Shock. No teamwork required. Striker finding two, and then the classic 1v1 with Moth in the back line. 3 minutes and 20 seconds now as we do run on into the main portion of this last point.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you which feels better in a couple weeks. 1v1ing a Echo as Zen or a Tracer as Zen?
Oh, yeah,
because I mean that was a pretty sick 1v1 by Moth.
Ooh, that's a lot of damage. Wow, look at that sticky bomb damage. It's insane. But Raucous, a little bit better. Ends up killing 2 with headshots. Striker on the side though. Bob doing 3. Seriously? 3 kills for Bob in double shield? You'd never have seen it. That's 4 kills for Striker. Bob did most of the work, but we'll give it to you, I guess. Here's another kill as well onto Linkster if he can land the shot. Oh, he's just going for the disrespect left click. No scope required. Dynamite in disguise as well as Dante gets set back down to the earth. Striker with 5 kills in this last fight, and now all they need is a couple of extra meters. But the tanks are back in the action. Muma and Meko are here, but the clone is available for Rasco. The beam is just melting through Muma. Meko's going to go down as well, and Shock. The steamroller this last point. Striker coming into one of his own.
Yeah, Rascal at the very end there said, Striker, it looks like you're having fun. Why don't I turn into Ash? He didn't even get to fire a shot, but the Bob zoning out there was really, really crucial. The dynamite on that point, on that archway, was enormous. I was like, okay, you got some nice tick damage. Then I saw Repel fell. And then I believe Raucous fell as well. So the dynamite kills 2 supports. Meanwhile, Moth is getting pressured down, but no one comes to help him because they're like, hey, it's Moth, he'll be fine. Moth often thought of as like this defensive Lucio and just really smart player, but Moth can also duel it out with the best of them. No one even looks at Bob.
My word.
If there was ever an argument for B.O.B play of the game alone, like B.O.B should run up and maybe Ashe is in the background. That should be the play of the game animation.
B.O.B actually carried that fight. I don't care how many kills Striker got with his gun. It was all B.O.B.
But I mean, those were, I mean, part of that is some of the subtle changes they did make to Ashe, is you can scope in and then the hip fire is a little bit quicker. So Striker, I do believe that Ashe has been tuned to the level she needed to be on release. They got it right. And it's been really fun to watch Ashe play. San Francisco finishes Rialto with 2.5 minutes in the bank of paper-mache defense presented by the Houston Outlaws. Houston is going to have to complete the map, and we'll run it back through Rialto again if they want to stay in this series. Otherwise, it's going to be a 3-0 in 4 maps.
Still be proud, like you said before. San Francisco Shock are a mean team to come up against. Outlaws are feeling the brunt of it currently. Dante, oh, he's potentially changing here. Looks like a Sombra? Tracer, okay. Alright, so they're going only to the ground. I mean, Rascal really is not going to have too much of a problem now, to be honest with you. He only has to watch out for Linkser. Muma end up falling as well. They are foregoing the high ground for the time being, but they still have Striker sitting way, way back.
I think part of the switch is to deal with Striker, just based on how he finished that last round. Sometimes someone becomes a priority you didn't expect. Rascal's messing around with Rascal. I don't think that's necessarily the fight you want to take as Tracer, but...
Linkser goes down as well. There you go, that's the kill that you were talking about. That's what they needed. No resurrection available, of course, as Mercy is out of the pool. Dante is so low, by the way. 8 HP. Yeah, Rascal's going to finish that one. No worries. Rascal put himself in a nice little position there to counteract the kill that went on earlier. Oh, Linkser in a nice spot too, but he can land the shots, but the damage drop-off from that distance is pretty big, and you're not too worried if you're a support. Now Meko in a lot of trouble as well, just trying to deal with the tanks and the pressure coming out from them. Rock ever so slightly missing. Dynamite still doing a fair bit of damage though, you can't underestimate that. Another one. Yeah, Striker's barbecued by the end of this.
Yeah. Another B.O.B coming up too for Striker. Amplification Matrix. San Francisco's been doing this without really having to use ultimates. Striker stays safe. Gets all the healing. No!
Oh, the stick onto Rascal too!
There it is. It opens
That's the opening that they needed. Yeah,
I will say though,
now dead.
If you're looking for one thing that Houston has done really well this entire match, it has been hitting halt and accretion combinations. It seems like Muma and Meko are definitely on the same page.
Shock are ulting this. It's always winnable, apparently, if you're Shock. They windowed, they also used the Flux, and now they're using Supercharger. Yeah. Striker's going to come back with a kill onto Dante. The Discord all plus the kill. B.O.B's going to come in as well. B.O.B's going to reach the back line also. Goodbye, everybody. Violet is just going to slaughter the front line. And, I mean, they got the kill onto Violet, but Violet already took out 2 people. They were 2 DPS dead. They blew 2 tank ults and the window, and they still managed to hold on.
Everything's winnable when you're San Francisco, and they bought enough time for everybody to get back into it. This one is going to be a little rough, though, because they lost Striker. Rascal does have the Echo ultimate ability. They lost Smurf. Striker's coming back on Tracer, but even during this, it's going to be a 5v6 if San Francisco wants to take this, and they only have Transcendence. Smurf comes back on the Winston just to get back and fight. Shock want to fight this.
Definitely do. Every fight is winnable. There's the Flux onto Choi. He already received a lot of shield though. However, Violet gets dragged off the edge. Transcendence is seen through this point. Dante with a pulse bomb. He doesn't really need it, I don't think. Yeah, Choi was just trying to go on that payload to stall out for a little bit longer. Mob ends up going down as well. Nice little fight there for the Outlaws. It's all on Choi really to try and keep himself alive, but it's a little bit too difficult when you're the only tank really in the front line. The Winston as well. He provides a lot of cleave damage in the front, but he's such a big hitbox and the shield takes no time at all to let Linkser, come on, man. Take a swing.
He has been a chatty Cathy today. He has been typing up a storm.
Hey, I love to see it, to be fair. A little bit of trash up here and there, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, chatty Cathy is like just something a 50-year-old Midwestern woman would say, so I'm really showing my true colors.
I was going to say, are you not that?
Thanks, bro.
Rascal going pretty low. Dante tried to dive to the back line there, take out Smurf with a pulse bomb. Did force the shift though, so it's not too bad at all. They know he doesn't have that available. Drive a little bit more pressure to it. Boomer get halted up in the air and, yep, through the window. Those sticky bombs doing a whole bunch of damage. Now B.O.B in the back line trying to do a little bit of something, but he was almost dead before he actually hit that wall. Choi ends up falling, but Strike is going to be such a menace in the back line. Has the pulse bomb available. Trying to bait out this immortality field. Not going to need it though, as he does one clip or two clip. Repel, take out Raucous as well. That'll be Shock holding on to the payload for the time being. 2 minutes now left in Outlaws time.
Yeah, Striker's just a god-tier Tracer. And, I mean, we didn't see Tracer a whole lot last year, and we didn't see Striker a whole lot, so he's just reminding people that he can take over games and win games by himself on the Tracer. And then you put him with the other 5 people on San Francisco Shock, and it's just unfair. About 90 seconds left for Houston to complete the map, or this series is over.
What ult they've really got to work with here. They've got 2 support ults coming up. That Flux is going to be the main one to see them through it, but Immortality Field from Violet is going to keep the team alive and well for the time being. Moth actually on the Brigitte now, of all things, fighting the small choke point's not too bad at all. Rascal changes over, he's got a Flux of his own. That clone's going to be so big. Everybody lifted eye in the sky. No Immortality Field to save you now. Everybody plummets to the that's a team kill for the Shock. And now the Outlaws with a minute to spare. They've not got much to work with either.
Outlaws have to hit the checkpoints. 1 minute means generally 1 fight. They have to reset here. Gonna have support ultimates. Repel's been rather quiet, but that's just because Violet is a super aggressive support. Sometimes to his detriment, but you take the good with the bad. 2 support ultimates for San Francisco as well. Oh, that's brutal! You just lost both of the people on your team who had ults. The silver lining is you can reset now, and you can try it again. Oh, bro.
And there it is.
Bro.
The team is just going to get rolled through. Bro, that's pretty much, that sums it up, I think. Oh, man. And it's not even... Yeah, they had ults, but like you also lose 2 supports.
Well, here's the thing. With 30 seconds, like if they have to take the fight here, they have to win this fight. They have to send someone to get to the cart. And even if they win this fight, they're going to be another fight before second. So San Francisco's using those ults aggressively because of the position of the payload.
They're going to be able to touch at least. Luckily for them, the payload has been trickling back, so they don't have to be far to walk to the point. Transcendence available. Window available. However, Smurf, they're going to run into his supercharger as well as that rally. They press kill once. Linkster gets destroyed. Goodbye. Immortality Field is going to see the Shock through this one. Transcendence, though, at the back of the Outlaws. Not too bad at all as they kill off Moth. They're still going to have a lot of trouble, though, dealing with Muma. Smurf is in a very tight situation with him to give a little kiss on the cheek and a wave goodbye. Overtime is now here. The rest of Outlaws are going to get cleaned on up, and that's going to be it. In 4 maps, the Shock find a 3-0, and they take the victory.
Chat spam coming out, but this was the expected result. I think for Houston, the silver lining is he didn't get completely blown out of the water, but it was pretty close. Those first 2 maps, all San Francisco. Forcing the draw on Paris is nice. Like I said, there's some nice things to look for if you're a Houston fan. I like to give some credit to the team that just got rocked. Muma and Meko played really well. That was nice combinations. They hit halt and accretion combinations often, and that was what got them to open up a bunch of fights. But there's just too much to overcome for this team. Violet played really aggressive, and it's kind of shades of his Season 2 Zenyatta play, where he was always super aggressive. He was actually the weak point of this team because of it. He toned it back a little, but when you have a team on the ropes like that, Violet just goes after you. He uses the aim. And then what can you say about the rest of the team? And then you've got a hero that I believe was just inspired by Rascal. They're like, hey, this Rascal guy can play everything. You know what would be cool? A hero that could play everything.
Echo is a very difficult hero to master for sure. You have to have such a deep repertoire, and like you just mentioned, Rascal is the perfect fit for that. Seemingly playing everything at such a high level. More often than not, we were seeing either the Baptiste clone, or we were seeing something like a Sigma or a Orisa. It makes so much sense. Like those fluxes at the very end of the fight, you start off with the normal flux from the real Sigma, and then the immortality field is burnt, and then guess what happens? Yeah. Well, I just clone as Sigma, and then I'm going to earn this flux almost instantly, and then you've got nothing left. Because the immortality field is such a strong ability, it needs to be on a big cooldown, and it's hard to then actually play around an additional flux that's coming out.
And the BAP makes sense too, because sometimes you're in a position where you're not certain if you're winning the fight or losing the fight. So if you're winning the fight, you just go after them, you just hit the left clicks, and you're hitting primary fires and you're killing people. If you're losing the fight, you're bringing it back to having all the healing. So it's that hero that can do both at a really, really good level. So if you're uncertain, are we cleaning up, are we defending, and you just pick BAP, you're like, oh yeah, I do both. I'm like a super versatile, and BAP's kit is really good, the ultimate's really good. So yeah, no surprise, Rascal on the Echo was going to be good. I think everyone could have seen that coming.
Yeah, and he's going to be your MVP as well, or player of the match even, presented by Xfinity. Unhex, Rascal's going to continue to do Rascal things, I think, if Echo is not rotated out of the hero pool. And Shock continue their steamroll, it feels, over the last couple of weeks. They looked a bit shaky, like we said before, at the very start of the season, but same old Shock.
Yeah, same old Shock back to it. And I think we had a survey at the beginning of the year where they had us pick like Rookie of the Year, Team of the Year, who wins this division, who's your MVP. And more than one of us, I know that I did personally, I picked Rascal as MVP because I'm like, it's the safest bet. I don't know what's going to be played. I don't know what's going to be meta week to week. I don't know what's going to happen. But I do know that Rascal, I have confidence in it, that he can adjust to every meta. We saw it last year when Baptiste was introduced. Rascal was the first player to do it, formerly known as a damage-dealing player. Can still play damage if you need him to do it, obviously. But he picked up BAP really quick, and now he can pick up everything. That has been his modus operandi throughout his entire career, is that if you sit Rascal in front of a new hero, he's got it faster than everybody else. His brain absorbs knowledge and game sense just at an ungodly level.
Yeah, and that's what's important, especially as the hero pool is rotating week to week to week, right? You need someone with that amount of flexibility, either on the bench or like to come in and play like they did today. Shock still have a ridiculous amount of talent just sitting, waiting around, waiting for their turn, it feels like. The backline as well, just doing an absolute amazing job. Moth keeping everybody alive, as Moth always does, but Violet just opening up with the windows, a bit selfishly sometimes on Numbani, not giving Striker the window and only to himself. But, I mean, if you're going to pick up big 3-4Ks like that, hey, you go nuts.
Yeah, you take it. You're... And is we don't respect you until you beat us or you show up or do something. Houston beat San Francisco in stage 3 last year, but that's just, we're just gonna go after you. We're gonna push you to the brink. We're gonna be ultra aggressive until you prove you can stop it. Once you prove you can stop it, then maybe we'll put back a little bit. Like on Paris, Rascal was punished a couple times being over aggressive. Was not over aggressive on Rialto. That was Violet's job this time. But like they really will just go after you until you make them not. I mean, it's a really frightening team, and I think a lot of teams know that, and it's got to play a part in your mind and your game plan.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like you can't really expect what they're going to pull out, right? I mean, you join the lobby, you're like, oh, so they're playing these people this week. Like, oh my god.
and it
okay, we're
matter.
seeing Architect.
Like, they could pull people off the bench and be like, ah, that still sucks. That's still a really
exactly.
good player.
Exactly.
Like, there's no best case scenario when you're playing San Francisco. Like, pretty much you're going to be going up against a team that is starting 6 great people, and then how do you game plan? Because they could always sub people in and sub people out. The only person I don't believe has ever been subbed out going back from going back to Season 2 is Moth. I think Moth has played like 100% of the times. He had the longest game played streak, I believe, in the league.
I wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. I'll have to definitely check on those stats. I think, yeah, I just have our producers. We are actually going to talk to Moth very shortly to give his insight into what just happened and just insight into the Shock as well, which is always nice to see. I've been very happy actually that the interviews are coming back because obviously everybody's stuck at home, etc. It's a little bit more difficult to kind of find these times to interview people, and when you can sit down and play it after these games, after such a dominant performance as well, and just kind of get their thoughts on the whole meta, the whole the new hero, and even the opponents that they just faced against. It's just a really big insight into something that we wouldn't normally see.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to be bringing it back. Like, we're in an unprecedented era of online casting and everything that's happening. We're trying to adjust, and so as we get one thing that we feel is working pretty well, it's not all going to be perfect. There's ghosts in these machines here. Then we're trying to add things more and more. I think John Spector had a great statement about what we're trying to add in. We're trying to add in more player cameras, more interviews. We're trying to make Owl feel like Owl again. Of course, Overwatch League feel like Overwatch League again. And these interviews are great. It's always great to hear from the players, especially players that kind of go off script. You know, I think we have a lot of personalities in this league that don't necessarily do the typical sports cliches of yeah, it's a team effort. We gave it 110%, and we're going to get at it and go back to work and keep our nose to the grindstone kind of thing. You get some pretty candid answers out of these players.
Yeah, I could name one person on the Shock roster that's like that, and he didn't play today.
Is he sloppy and disrespectful?
Yeah, and he plays the tank role, the main tank specifically. I wonder who I could be talking about. But we are just quickly setting up the interview, guys. It shouldn't be too much longer. We'll have to deal with our ugly mugs for a little bit before we jump into that, and we can hand off to Zoe and Moth. But let's talk about how Shock are going to do in the later weeks, because they are definitely a team that can obviously
well, the upcoming,
just play almost anything, right?
The
but
upcoming
I'm
schedule
kind of curious if they're actually going to be able to play Echo again, because Echo, I feel like, is going to be taken out of the hero pool week by week by week. It's going to be like Echo week, no Echo week, Echo week, no Echo week.
But I think that's going to be fine for San Francisco. Their upcoming matches are, they have one match next week. It's against the Toronto Defiant. You have to mark that down probably as a W pretty quickly for San Francisco. You pretty much mark everything down as a W for San Francisco at this point. Except I would like to see San Francisco and Shanghai right now. And never mind, let's get out of my own head.
Oh, yeah.
But then if that's not an Echo week, fine, they could probably take care of them. After that, they play Atlanta, which is going to be an interesting test of their mettle against Atlanta. Next week for the Outlaws, it is going to be a two-set match. It's going to be against Atlanta, who are kind of reeling. Maybe they're going to be angry coming off this loss. Maybe they're going to be sleeping on the Outlaws. And then the Houston Outlaws will play the Vancouver Titans next weekend as well. Next weekend's going to be lit, so that should be fun to watch.
Yes, it will. I'm liking you bringing it back and just trying to prove that you're still young enough. That's fine, Hex. We're going to jump to a quick break. We're going to jump to a quick break, guys. Do not go anywhere. We got an interview with Reinforce and Moth after the break.
Well, let's talk about Moth.
Moth is honestly a fantastic player.
He's one of the smartest players in the league.
He is one of the best main supports that we've got in the game.
What a big brain on that guy!
The bloodthirsty support, Moth. This guy has the sickest environmental kills, the sickest boops.
Moth! No way! God. Moth! He goes in deep, gets the boop!
Strap yourselves in, nerds. This is where it happens.
Oh no, he's done it again! Come on! Get out of my house! Somebody stop this guy! This guy is filth! Oh man! Moth! What a monster!
What's up, everybody? It's Reinforce here, back at the Overwatch League. Now, you might have expected Zoe, but guess what? we're saving the best for last, so make sure you tune into the Watchpoint post-show. That is coming right up after this. But I'm Reinforced, and I'm here with Moth, following a fantastic win against the Houston Outlaws. Pretty quick, pretty dominant win, Moth. What's your initial
reaction? We were really
reaction
confident going in, and all in all, it went pretty well. We did have that draw in Paris, but it was a pretty solid match for us. Personally, I was pretty nervous for my individual performance because the coaches told me yesterday I might be flexing to Zen, which is a hero I'm not comfortable on at all. But all in all, it went well.
That's like a pretty quick adaptation, just one day. Has it been hard figuring out the compositions for Echo this week? Has it been ever-changing, or did you have a good idea going into
It actually
this week
changed a lot through the week. Teams were trying out a ton of different stuff, so it took us a while to decide on this comp.
Okay, so you guys and Houston Outlaws actually played a bit of a slower compositions. Meanwhile, earlier today we see a lot of teams playing dive compositions, they're playing Sombra, a lot of Tracer, etc. What is the reasoning you're slowing down the game a little bit? A bit more
we just found in scrims that this comp was pretty stable on every map, and it had like very few swaps to make in case we ran into something that was different. Like if they played dive, you could easily switch to Brig if you were playing Zen, like the counter. So just fewer swaps to make counters, and it was pretty stable.
Okay, so do you think it's the superior composition than dive? Do you dare say that?
I'm not sure. We didn't run into a lot of Brig Zen in scrims, and I saw that a bunch of the teams in China and Korea were running that, so I'm not sure how it would match up against those.
Okay, so when you are in these mirror compositions, again, because this match was pretty much the only match we saw a lot of Orisa and Sigma, when you're in these mirror compositions, what's your priority like? What are picks you're trying to get ahead of Houston? What is the advantage you're looking for when you're playing?
A lot of it, this patch is about just maximizing your Echo's value, because Echo's a really strong hero right now, and because Mercy's banned, that usually means like throwing a lot of armor packs at your Echo or keeping your orb on Echo all the time. Echo creates a lot of variables for the team because he can quickly like jump to a flank position and deal a ton of burst damage.
Okay, so given the fact that actually Mercy is removed from the hero pool this week, do you think we would have seen a lot of Mercy gameplay if she wasn't removed? Do you think we'll see a lot more Mercy going into next
in ranked
week,
when Echo and Mercy were both available, that was picked almost every map. I wouldn't be surprised if it was really strong in pro play as well.
Okay, interesting. We'll have to hope then that Echo doesn't get removed this week, because that would pretty much ruin everything. Another big talking point this week, of course, is that Sinatra has retired from competitive Overwatch. Now, talking a bit more as the team itself, how have San Francisco as a team adapted to that change? Do you think there's something missing that someone has to step up for? How's the shot calling changed in that regard? Are you or someone else calling a bit more, perhaps, now when Sinatra was such a big
yeah, I mean, when Sinatra told us he was leaving, it was a really emotional day for everyone, and it was difficult for us, but we're really happy for him, and we think he's going to do great. And we, at the end of the day, we have a really stacked DPS line that can fill in for pretty much any meta. As for his leadership skills, Krusty's working on that, trying to get Rascal into that role a little bit. Everyone's stepping up for the calling when Sinatra's not in, so we're making adjustments.
Interesting. So one final question, of course, with the introduction of Echo. The game is a bit more chaotic, Moth. It's a bit all over the place. There's a lot going on with her ultimate, etc. How are you liking Echo being added to the game? Are you finding the game a lot more enjoyable, playing Echo, etc.?
I think Echo's burst damage is pretty high right now, and it can be pretty annoying when she comes from a flank, hits you with a right click, and finishes you off with a beam. There's not much you can do to react to that. It is a lot more chaos, you're right.
Fair. Yeah, fair, for sure. Well, thank you very much, Moth, for joining me here and answering some questions. That's going to be it for us here at the Overwatch League, but coming up is the Watchpoint post-show, so make sure you stay tuned for that coming up after this break right here. We have some great matches today. I hope you all enjoy that. But coming up next, it's what you've been waiting for. It's Zoe and Costa, and me, of course. So again, thank you very much, Moth. But my best of luck for you going into next week. And thank you very much. Stay tuned for Watchpoint post-show coming up after this.